Good afternoon, Niner fans. Usually we're here talking about Victory Monday, but there's no Victory Monday today. Unfortunately, as we know, the 49ers lost to the Cleveland Browns yesterday, an ugly, ugly loss. But hey, it is what it is. 49ers are 5-1. There's only 3 teams in the NFC that are 5-1, as we discussed last night. But you know what? The biggest concern yesterday after that game was the injuries. There was a lot of injuries that we were waiting on updates. And today, Kyle Shanahan addressed these updates. So I want to go ahead and let's talk about that today. That'll pretty much be the extent of what we'll talk about. And then, any questions or concerns. So, again, Kyle Shanahan was out there and giving us some good updates today. There's actually good news today, if there is good news regarding injuries, right? So, first and foremost, you had the 3 stars that were hurt. It was Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, and Deebo Samuel. Good news on Trent Williams is that it's not a high ankle sprain. He has a low ankle sprain. He's considered day-to-day. That is huge news right there. Like, I was concerned that he played through the injury and made it worse. Day-to-day, they're going to see how he goes through practice. They have an extra day this week before Monday night, so we'll see. Will Trent Williams miss time? I don't know. We'll see how practice goes this week, but he's day-to-day with the normal ankle sprain, a low ankle sprain. It's not a high ankle sprain, which is the more serious type of ankle sprain. So huge, 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 huge news for Trent Williams. And also Deebo Samuel, huge, huge news for Deebo is the fact that he avoided a major injury. He has a shoulder injury, and he's also considered day-to-day, right? He's only day-to-day. It could have been season, could have been a long time injury, it could have been weeks. But right now, Deebo Samuel is considered day-to-day with a shoulder injury. So that's good news. That is actually very good news. I thought it was going to be a long-term type thing. We'll see, again, how he responds to everything in practice. And he's tough. Deebo's tough. So day-to-day for him might be like week to week for me and you. He's a tough dude. So, again, shoulder injury, day-to-day. We'll see how things go. And the other guy that we really need to make, an update or talk about an update is Christian McCaffrey, right? He is the heart and soul of this defense. He's the guy that kind of took this offense, and he took this offense to a new level this year, right? And last year when he came aboard. Ever since CMC's come aboard, like this offense is electric. It's just this elite, mean scoring machine. And yesterday when he was out, you could tell they really, really missed him. Not only that, Deebo Samuel, too. Those 2 guys are big-time tone setters. But Christian McCaffrey, he's having MRIs done. He has an oblique injury, a rib oblique injury. So those are tough. It's really about pain control. This is what we knew last night was it was an oblique injury, but there's no further timetable for his return. We don't know. According to Ian Rappaport this morning, it could be no games. It could be 2 games. It could be 4 games. It really doesn't. We don't know because he has to get all these tests done. So he is having MRIs as we speak. Regarding his oblique to determine the severity. So those are good things right there. That is good news for Christian McCaffrey. It could be something minor. It could be something where it might need a couple of weeks. So we'll really see how bad this oblique injury is. Now, the thing about CMC, and Ian Rappaport was talking about this morning on Pat McAfee show, that he's kind of like very seclusive. He's kind of secretive. He doesn't want people to know about his body. He doesn't want to put all this information out there. He's kind of discreet, right, with his injuries. And even if he knows what's going on, he's probably not going to let too much information out because the thing about CMC is, and this is what Rap Sheet was saying, is he doesn't want people to have information on him to target him, to make him weaker in a game. And if you watch the games, teams are so hell-bent on targeting Christian McCaffrey. And, he's the best player on the 49ers offense. He makes them tick, and teams are trying to take him out. I don't know if you get that vibe, but I feel like teams are trying to hurt the man. And I don't think he wants to, give too much information. Obviously, we'll know how, severe the oblique injury is after the MRIs, but CMC's not going to let you know how hurt he is. He's going to tell you I feel fine. He's going to tell you I feel great. He's tough, and I can see him playing through any type of injury that he has. So, so Nick Wagner also tweeted this out. He says, although the 49ers are still awaiting MRIs on Christian McCaffrey's oblique and rib, Kyle Shanahan sounded optimistic it wouldn't be long-term. He says, hopefully Christian will be good to go this week, but if not, we've got a group of backs we can rely on. And those group of backs, of course, Ty Davis-Price, we have Jordan Mason and Elijah Mitchell. Now, the thing that Kyle Shanahan said that, I see a lot of people already commenting on it, was he says that if Christian McCaffrey can't go on Monday, again, it's to be determined. We got to figure out how his injury is going to be on the MRIs. Like we don't know exactly the extent of his injury, but it'll be hard to predict the 49ers running back order. This is what Kyle said. He says he likes Elijah Mitchell, and he's earned a ton with San Francisco, given his good play when he's healthy, and he's healthy now. Shanahan also said that the 49ers can't discount how well Jordan Mason is running. I feel like he is discounting Jordan Mason based on what he said. He says that Elijah Mitchell has earned a ton with San Francisco, given how good he plays when he's healthy. But the problem about Elijah Mitchell, he's never healthy. He's never healthy. And Jordan Mason runs with purpose. He's a hard-nosed runner. Like, he tries so hard to earn Kyle's respect. I don't know what else Jordan Mason has to do. Maybe he has to buy him a present. Maybe he has to give him a car. Maybe he has to clean his car, wash his dishes. I don't know. What does Jordan Mason have to do to earn Kyle's respect? Because it seems like he wants to keep playing Elijah Mitchell. And I like Elijah Mitchell. But the problem is, the man can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy unless he's trying to boost his draft stock or trade stock, sorry. I don't know. I like Elijah. And like Kyle said, he's good when he's healthy, but he's never healthy. That's the problem. So, everybody wants to know what's up with Greenlaw. So the good news about Dre Greenlaw, hamstring issue. Obviously, he didn't play this Sunday because of the hamstring issue. But Kyle Shanahan did say that he believes that Dre Greenlaw will return to practice this week, barring any setbacks. So he should be back. Dre Greenlaw will be back to practice. This is according to Kyle Shanahan. Obviously he couldn't play yesterday. He was a big miss. He was a massive miss on that team yesterday. I think the 49ers, they might have missed Dre Greenlaw more than anybody yesterday. Obviously Christian McCaffrey and Deebo, but man, the run game from the Browns couldn't really be stopped. And Dre Greenlaw was a huge loss in that middle. That's what I said yesterday. So it'll be nice to get Dre Greenlaw back. But again, it is a hamstring issue. Those things are kind of pesky. They linger sometimes. So right now, we'll see how he does in practice. It's all about, the mobility. Can he go and run pain-free? How's his sideline-to-sideline ability? He was limited last week, but it looks like he'll be full practice this week, according to Kyle Shanahan. But again, it really depends on when practice comes and how the legs feel, how the knees feel, and, the hamstring and everything. It just really depends on when he's out there, how's he feeling on that, with the hamstring. So, but it is good news that Dre Greenlaw will be back. So, a relatively good injury news for the 49ers. Again, a real recap again. So Deebo Samuel is day-to-day with the shoulder. He avoided a massive injury. It could have been worse, according to all the reports. Christian McCaffrey, an oblique and rib injury. He still don't know the severity. They're getting MRIs on his oblique area. Now, Trent Williams avoided a high ankle sprain, and he is day-to-day. That is huge right there. Trent Williams' injury, not being a high ankle sprain, is so big because I was worried all night about Trent Williams and the ankle. The fact that he had a boot on, the fact that he tried to suck it up and play because he didn't want Jalen Moore to go up against, Hall of Fame type player Myles Garrett. Like, shout out to Trent Williams. He did have 4 pressures let up, but he was playing through a bum ankle, and that's noble of him. This team needs Trent Williams, and I hope that the ankle's okay and he'll be able to play next week. And then again, Dre Greenlaw will be back in practice. He had the hamstring issue that he was dealing with last week. So good news overall. It could have been worse, right? Did I watch Undisputed today? Actually, I didn't catch it today, but I heard that Richard Sherman cooked Skip today, which is good. There was also another injury, some minor injury. George Odom, I guess he has a thigh injury. He's day-to-day as well. This was, I just looked at Jennifer Lee Chan. I was just making sure I didn't miss anything. But it does look like George Odom, he has a thigh. He's a special teams player. He's important for the special teams, but it's not the biggest injury in the world. So the major injuries, though, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. Good news on those for the most part. And, Dre Greenlaw coming back. So I love it. Key, where's the squad box been? everybody's got their own lives. They're busy, man. But we've definitely been trying to get them together. So hopefully soon, because we do need the quad box back together. I love that. Nav says, we got to trade for another O-line. Yeah, we need some O-line depth. Although I do like Feliciano, there are some guys, but we need tackle depth. I agree. We got to keep Brock Purdy healthy and, keep him upright. My man Josh, thank you for keeping us updated with everything. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support. Thanks to everybody for the support on all the platforms. I love you guys. You know how we do. We got to keep the Niner fans up to date and everything, and that's what we do. So I appreciate all the support, everybody that, leaves a comment, likes the page, all that good stuff. Let's see. Any other questions, concerns? Let's take a look. Terrence said, should Mason be the number 2 running back? Terrence, I think so. I think he's proved himself. I think when he comes in, he runs with purpose. He's getting good yardage on his runs. Like he hasn't got hurt, knock on wood. The guy's tough, man. He runs like different than most of the running backs on this team. He's just a hard-nosed runner. He's like a Marshawn Lynch type running back, So honestly, if it was up to me, Jordan Mason would be running back too. But again, we just were talking about it. Kyle Shanahan, he just loves Elijah Mitchell, and I get it. He's good. He runs the system very well when he's healthy. But the problem is he's never healthy, and it's not a slight to him. It's the truth. He's never healthy. And Kyle said that he's earned reps because when he's healthy, he's so good. So it's like Kyle gets fixated on certain players. He loves certain players. And it's like Jordan Mason hasn't earned that from him yet. Jordan Mason hasn't earned that love from Kyle Shanahan. I don't know like I said, I don't know what Jordan Mason needs to do, but he needs to go get him a bouquet of flowers, some chocolate, get him like a back rub, something. He needs to go get him some gifts and tell you, Kyle, man, put me in running back too, baby. I got this. I mean, if it's up to me, Jordan Mason running back too. Ask Joe, my man, says, if we think about it, defense only held up to 19 points. Without Greenlaw, refs made it seem like the Browns killed us. That's a good take. I mean, honestly, if you rewatch the game, Niners defense played very good. I rewatched it painfully this morning, and it was definitely a defensive battle. The 49ers had a few miscues here and there. They had 2 interceptions on P.J. Walker. Penalties gave them a couple of extra chances here and there, and a lot of those penalties were silly, man. Now, the 49ers defense played good. Could have been better with Dre Greenlaw because they did run on this team. Oren Burks, he's not Dre Greenlaw. Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, he's not Dre Greenlaw, but the referees definitely helped him out a lot, as we all saw in that game. So a frustrating game, but the defense, there's no way you could put anything bad on the defense. The defense played their hearts out, man. The offense just didn't score enough points. They were backed up many times. They couldn't move the ball. Again, we talked about it last night. Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, they both seemed rattled. But, hey, they had enough chances to get to the point where they were able to put this team in a winning position. Should Kyle Shanahan have ran maybe one more play before that last field goal, get a couple more yards? Probably so. But I guess he wanted to tell Jake, like, he trusts him. He trusts him in that spot, 41-yard field goal. He should, I think he's telling Jake, like, we trust you. You don't need a couple extra yards. Robbie Gould missed a 41-yard field goal last year against the Raiders, but the big difference is he got an extra chance in overtime. So. Appreciate you, Oscar Joe. Appreciate you. It's all about being consistent, but it's not always easy. But I appreciate you, man. Terrence says, the major injury is the Eagles fans that texted and talked shit before the Jet game. Bro, those Eagles fans were reckless. Did you see Twitter? Like, they were going on Brock. They were going this way, that way. They were coming for blood. They were coming at the Niners. I was getting, like, DMs about, oh, your Niners are stupid Niners. I was like, your game's not over. Oh, this game's over. This game was over when it started. And then after the game, Eagles fans have been real quiet, man. It's funny. Hit that like button, says Nav. Carl says, do you think Kittle will get more involved in the offense? I hope so. That's something we got to talk about because I do feel like Kittle should have been involved in that offense more. Again, was he supposed to be blocking more? That Trent was hurt? Maybe they were trying to use Kittle a little bit more, although I didn't really see that a lot when I rewatched the game. I mean, Kittle was out there. they weren't getting him the targets, especially coming after a 3-touchdown game. I just think that Kyle lost his game plan. I truly believe that this game plan was supposed to be heavy on Deebo and heavy on CMC. And when they weren't there, I think they froze up, and the 49ers were like, God, dog. And if you really watch it again, too, Brock missed some plays. He missed a deep shot wide open to Christian McCaffrey. Oh, God, that one I wish we could get back. Brandon Ayuk, he missed a couple big catches. It was right through his hands. Brock had a few overthrows, unfortunately, but there was a couple throws he threw to Brandon Ayuk. And I think, because Brock has such a good chemistry with Ayuk, I feel Kyle and them were okay with, Deebo's out, CMC's out. The next best option right now is to go Brandon Ayuk. And I feel like they were trying to get him the ball, and it just didn't work out. And then maybe Kittle was an afterthought at that point, and they were trying to run. They just couldn't get their game plan going, because there was a few times, like Ray McLeod, he had the jet sweep. He was trying to play like Deebo, just didn't hit the same. Like he got, mixed up with Trent Williams on one of the plays. He bumped into him. So, they were trying. The offense just didn't work without their top players, and it shows you that Deebo and CMC are just so important for this offense. And if you're missing passes and you're dropping passes like BA, that's not good. But I agree, Carl, that they should have got Kittle the ball more. There's no excuse for only having, he had one target. I at least give him 5 targets. Man had 3 touchdowns last week. So I agree. Jorge says, between the eclipse, weather, injuries, poor penalty calls, this was not going to be a blowout game. It just was an ugly game. It was a weird game. We talked about it yesterday. I mean, everything that needed to go wrong for the 49ers went wrong for them to lose. Still had a chance to win the game. So I'm not too worried about it. Again, I was just more concerned about the injuries after the game, and the fact that we got some good injury news, to me, is all that matters. That's huge. The fact that Christian McCaffrey, he avoided like a huge injury, most likely. They're waiting on MRIs to get the severity. And the fact that Deebo and Trent Williams are just day-to-day, the fact they're only day-to-day, that's a blessing right there. That's a blessing. Now, I hope they play next week, because I don't want to go into Minnesota and lose that game. I think the Niners could still win without them, but, it gets tough mentally. It gets a little stressful, so. Julius, an offensive lineman you would want to realistically trade for? I don't really know who's available to trade. I mean, if Tristan Wirfs was ever available, that's the guy I want. But I really don't know who's available in terms of who's going to give up a lineman. That's a tough one. There's never a lot of linemen available. That's a tough position to trade for. Hey, if Tristan Wirfs was ever available, that's the guy. Like, that is the one guy I wish the 49ers could get. Because when Trent Williams hangs it up, he can just slide right in for Trent, man. It'd be an easy replacement. That's the way I want to go. Diego says the Eagles lost too. That definitely salvaged the day yesterday. That was amazing. So good stuff on that. Ethan says, is it worth risking their health against the Vikings? Talking about the injury players. So, yeah, that's the question you have to ask yourself and that's what we talked about last week with Dre Greenlaw, the week before with Deebo, the week before with Brandon Ayuk. And in the grand scheme of things, no, if it's a minor injury against a team like the Vikings, 49ers should be able to win the game without Deebo, without Trent Williams, without Christian McCaffrey. Like, they could. They've won games without a lot of star players in the past. Remember last year, team was depleted. They were 3-5. They went on a run. There were times where they had a lot of players injured, Deebo Samuel, et cetera, et cetera. The year before, the last couple of years, they've been battling injuries. And the Niners know how to win games without star players to their team because they have a lot of star players. People step up, next man up. Ronnie Bell, you give him extra reps in practice, I'm sure he can step up. Juwan Jennings, players like that. Jordan Mason. I feel like the 49ers could win without those guys. And ultimately, though, Ethan, I think you're absolutely right. Is it really worth one game if, we play those guys through an injury, they're going to get hurt more? It's tough. But then it hurts their rhythm in terms of being able to get in sync in the game. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. But ultimately, I think you're right. It's not worth playing, through injury for 1 week. If you know that you can beat this team without Christian McCaffrey, without Deebo, without Trent, you should go out and play. But at the same time, it's not guaranteed that you're going to go out and beat the Vikings. We can't sit here and say we're going to beat the Vikings guaranteed, because a lot of us thought that they were going to beat the Cleveland Browns guaranteed. We thought they were going to beat them easily. I thought that, like, not everybody, because a lot of people did say it was a trap game last week. When I did my show with Bash on Friday Night Prediction Show, he challenged me. He said he felt like it was a trap game. And I said, no, I think the Niners are just too locked in. I was wrong. I thought they were going to be cooking, and they were burning. They burnt food. They burnt the food. They put the food on the oven, and they burnt it. They didn't cook the food thoroughly. They overcooked, and they burnt the food. That's what happened. The 49ers burnt their food. They even had, did you see the video? Cleveland Browns, not only did they beat the 49ers, they held Kyle Shanahan to the least points of his entire career as a coach, and they trolled the 49ers boombox entrance. They beat the brakes out of us. They hit us in the mouth. That ninja says we couldn't beat the Browns. Browns had a good defense, man. And I think it was a reality check. The 49ers, I think they were confident, maybe a little too confident, because I know I felt confident. I'm sure the team felt confident. And they got hit in the mouth. They got bullied. Grant Delpit last week, what did he say? He says, they got to come into our house. They're riding their high horse. They came out. They had the boombox. They came out. They picked a fight with us to start the game. And they hit the Niners in the mouth. They beat them at their own game. A reality check for the 49ers. It was a humbling win. Or a humbling loss. Humbling win for the Browns. Humbling loss for the 49ers. Although, if you really, again, I don't want to say the refs caused the game to lose, because the 49ers still had a chance to win. That didn't help. But it was definitely an ugly, ugly game. But again, the silver lining, injuries weren't as bad as they could have been. So, Christine says the NFL needs to start holding the refs accountable every game. I agree. What's up, Jimmy? I agree. I saw a post earlier today from one of my friends on his story. He said, look, players are getting fined for wearing certain socks. You get fined for socks for certain celebrations. Like, the players get fined for everything. Wearing a t-shirt, they get fined for everything. But the refs, they don't hold them accountable for messing up, for making bad calls, for altering the outcome of a game. Like, some of these outcomes alter a game. You saw the Giants and the Bills last night. That was a blatant defensive holding. He got help, on Darren Waller, that final play. It changed the outcome of the game. It could have went a whole different way. So, Jimmy, this is a good question. I'm going to ask you guys. Do you think the 49ers should bring back Robbie Gould? This is a big question. Everybody's talking about Robbie Gould. Should they bring him back? You know what? Let's talk about Robbie Gould. One of the reasons they let go of Robbie, obviously the money. I think that was an issue. He wanted a lot of money. Jake Moody's a very much cheaper option. He's a young kid. He has a strong arm. A strong leg. He can kick far field goals. His accuracy is something we got to hopefully he does better on, because he did miss those 2 field goals yesterday. Although he came into that game perfect, right? But they were never in big time situations, pressure cooker situations. Robbie Gould, he's a pressure cooker kicker, clutch kicker, right? I think the other reason they wanted Jake Moody is he could do kickoffs, right? Robbie Gould wasn't doing kickoffs. He would do one job only, is kick field goals. That's what is his job. That was his job in PATs. He didn't do kickoffs. He didn't do far kicks. They had to get into a certain range, but in his range, he was pretty much money in the playoffs, in pressure cooker situation, because there were times where he missed in the regular season. And I feel like last year was a weird season for him. He missed times when he should. There was times where he missed when he normally wouldn't. Playoffs come, though, he's locked in. So what do you guys think? If Jake Moody struggles, should they just say, yo, you're a rookie, you'll figure it out, but for this season, we need Robbie. We're going to go borrow him for a year, or however much weeks we got left, plus playoffs. You can figure it out, get your mind right. I think the 49ers should spend the money. Moody is a rookie. He's still learning. Christine says Moody is fine. Still a rookie. Blood Moon says, here's the problem with bringing back Robbie. Who's to say he's in game shape? What if it takes 4 to 5 weeks to get him into game shape? He will also demand too much, especially now. And now, it's a good point, Blood Moon, because now he knows he has them kind of where he wants to, leverage-wise. If the 49ers do call him, he's going to say, hey, you coming crawling back to Robbie, you want me, now you got to pay the piper. He's going to say, yo, pay me more money. He's going to say that. You're absolutely right. He's going to say, yo, pay me more than you might be right on that. So That's a good point, actually. Is he going to be in shape? You know, we don't know if he's been staying in shape. Obviously, I'm sure he's making sure his legs good where it needs to be because he hasn't retired yet. So you would think, okay, maybe he's staying in some type of form, but not having training camp, not having preseason, all that stuff to get the reps, it does make a difference. We've seen Nick Bosa this year. He's Nick Bosa. I mean, Robbie Gould's no Nick Bosa. I don't know, no hate on Robbie, but I mean, he's not chiseled out of stone. Nick Bosa's Nick Bosa. That boy is in incredible shape, and he was not in football shape. So that is a great point, bud. It is a good point. Rick, I'm good. I'm good. But yeah, it's a good question. It's gonna be a question that's gonna keep arising through the season. If Moody keeps struggling, people are gonna be calling for his neck. Now it is early. It's only one game. It was his worst game. He's a rookie. He's young. I know all those things. He can learn from it, but there's always going to be pressure on him. And this was the first pressure cooker situation. So I don't know. I felt bad for him last night because you could tell he was holding back tears. The guy looked so sad yesterday in the locker room when they were asking him questions. Reporters were asking him questions. You see him, like he looked like he was going to cry. Fans ate him alive. It was bad. But he's going to get another chance soon. I'm sure he will. And that's how he redeems himself. The only way, all he has to do now, he's got to let this one go away. And the next opportunity he gets, he has to make the most of it. He has to take care of the opportunity and make the most of it. So, again, at the end of the day, I still feel like the 49ers are still one of the top 3 teams in the NFL. Tough loss, but a lot of teams have losses. There's no undefeated teams. If you look at the top teams, 5-1 Lions, 5-1 Niners, 5-1 Eagles, 5-1 Chiefs, and 5-1 49ers. Those are your teams that only have one loss. Lions beat the Chiefs, right? The Eagles lost to the Jets, who have a great defense, but their offense isn't what it needs to be without Aaron Rodgers. Niners lost to Cleveland, who have a phenomenal defense. Similar type of loss, although our quarterback didn't throw 3 interceptions, just didn't have the best game. He threw an interception, the first one, and everybody's going crazy on him. I think Brock will, bounce back. So no team's perfect right now, and it's wide open. And Niners are still the favorite in my eyes. If they were the favorite coming into this game, you lose to a good defense with all the injuries and the penalties. I don't think they drop down too much. Oh, and the Dolphins. Yeah, the Dolphins also. I forgot. They lost to the Bills. Division game. So. Blood says, truly scary that a kicker is too into their own head emotions because they ain't going to be the last time. Yeah, and that's the scary thing that I noticed yesterday during that interview was I could just sense that Moody, he just doesn't trust himself. He's scared, man. He's stressed out. He's in his head. But he's going to get another opportunity. And at that moment, you got to get all that out of your mind. You got to have clarity. And if he has another pressure cooker situation, if he makes it, let's just say let's say flash forward to 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now. I don't know. Big game on the line. Niners tied up with someone, whoever, and he has a game-winning field goal opportunity, and they hit it. He hits it. Everybody's going to ride him. They're going to be hyped up. They're going to be swinging, their fists in the air. They're going to be hyping him. Oh, Moody. The fans are going to be hyped, and it's great. Now, if he misses it, it's going to be a long way back to San Francisco, the locker room, or wherever he has to go after the game. So these are moments that are going to define him. It's early, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Jake Moody. I feel bad for the kid, but again, this is his job. Can't feel too bad for him. Got to figure it out. You got to suck it up and make those kicks. Just like Brandon Ayuk. Love the guy. I think he's one of the best players on our team. But if he wants to get paid, you got to make those catches. Like, nobody's free of criticism, right? We're sitting here talking about Jake Moody. You need to make those kicks. Brandon Ayuk, you got to make those catches. Brock Purdy, you got to make those throws. That's it. Bottom line. Team is healthy. Could have been worse. avoided a monster injury, which I'm grateful. Knock on wood. My man Julius says the moment Moody finds his confidence, watch out NFL. I hope that soon. I mean, he was 9 for 9 coming into this game. So it's not like he was horrible, but again, those 9 field goals, they weren't in like the biggest tense situation. So I think that's the difference. Is yes, he was 9 for 9 because a lot of people would say, "Oh my God, he's perfect," which I gave him his flowers through the weeks. I said, "Wow, this guy's perfect. He hasn't missed one. Bad preseason, 9 for 9. Now he's in a pressure cooker situation." So it's kind of a theme in the preseason. You remember the preseason, and again, I know it's only preseason, but they were the first moments he had a chance to go out there on the grand stage and kick a field goal, and he missed, and they iced him. He missed big kicks in the preseason. He was iced. They literally called a timeout, and they iced this man in the preseason. He lost his confidence then. He did get it back, and he went 9 for 9, but those 9 field goals were not in pressure cooker situations, ladies and gentlemen. It is a little bit of a concern. Although I know he can grow from this. I know he can figure it out. But if you read the body language, if you hear his voice, and again, during the preseason when they interviewed him, it was the same thing. He's like, I'll figure it out. That's my job. He kind of said the same stuff, and his voice was shaky then as it is now. And that, again, mentally, I think it's going to wear on him. I hope he finds his confidence, Julius, because you're right. Once he finds it, it's game over. But he's always going to be living with pressure because he was a third-round kicker. They could have drafted a right tackle, cornerback, offensive guard, whatever the case is. And that's what Niner fans are always going to throw at him. And I can't blame them for that. So, Terrence says, do we make any trades at the deadline? I think we might. It really depends on how these next 2 weeks go and what's lacking. If they're lacking, if they got some injuries, I don't think they hesitate to make a move. I feel like right now they're okay. I think they feel confident with their team. Randy Gregory was that was a massive trade. I think if they feel like there's a guy out there that they can add to this team that's on a bad team that they're going to give away, they'll add him to the team. So it's just a matter of who's hurt, who's not. Again, I think they're anticipating guys like Womack back, Luther back. Those are guys that they got to really see. So depends on the injuries right now and who's available. But I could see the 49ers making a trade at the trade deadline. If they absolutely need to, I don't think they're going to hesitate. So Supreme says we need a right tackle. I mean, yes, but again, who the heck's available at right tackle right now that you can trade for? So they kind of put themselves in a weird position. They got to draft a right tackle in the draft. They just better pray that McKivitz doesn't get any worse. So Diego says Purdy was off too. Yeah, he was. Gabe says Brock is still the guy. I'm not worried about Brock. That was his first bad game. First bad game he played, really. Everybody's due for bad games. If you watched all the games this weekend, a lot of quarterbacks stunk it up. I mean, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they barely beat the Broncos. They scored 19 points against the Broncos. Dolphins put up 70 on them. Not worried. Josh Allen was kind of All right, he didn't look too hot last night. I mean, I'm not worried. Brock will be fine. Everybody has bad games. Jalen Hurts threw 3 interceptions. We need to draft a left tackle, right tackle. Rashad says, I do not like Shea. I don't like, you know who I don't like? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Did you guys see him coming at Deebo out of nowhere? Like, this dude's on the couch watching the games, tweeting. And he came out of left field, hit Deebo with some shade tweets. And then Deebo tweeted right back at him. And this guy, he waited 8 hours, 4 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time. So I guess it's 7 o'clock our time. He's out there sitting there, I'm going to beat you on and off the field. Like, he's threatening violence on him. And then Deebo responded back to him, like, I don't even know why. Did you get bored? You coming at me out of nowhere? He came out of nowhere. And then he says, you've been bounced around the league so much, I'll bounce you around like you've been bounced around the league. I was crazy. So, why is he even talking, says Christine? I know. I don't know. It beats me. '49ers throwback says Some Browns fans are delusional, saying Purdy didn't lead them to the winning field. Yeah. That's the media. And we said it last night. I said the teams, the media, the fans, people are going to have their narrative and say Brock Purdy sucks. He did this. He did that. Again, it wasn't his best game, but he still put them in position to win that game. He wasn't out there kicking the field goal. Shit, if he would have kicked that field goal and made it, Brock Purdy is him. But I knew that was coming after that game. I mean, he didn't have a good game. Obviously, you could slam him for that, say he didn't have a good game. He needs to do better. He needs to figure it out. He said it himself. He puts it on the onus on himself. He knows he needs to do better. He missed a lot of passes that he should have made. But the people that are saying they lost the game because of him. I saw a lot of people that said they lost the game because of him. He put him in position to win the game at the end of the day. So, Showboat says it's crazy how the NFL changes week to week. 1 second you're on top, next you're not. And that is the beauty of the NFL. It's such a weird game, man. This is a good question. We'll leave on this one. Joe says, it feels as if the entire media was eagerly anticipating the Niners' loss. They seem quite pleased and discussed this more than they are waiting for the downfall. How many times have we sat here and said that the 49ers are the media like punching bag? When the Niners are doing bad, they love it. They love it because I feel like the Niners for generations, for history, they beat down on teams. They were a great team. They were a dynasty. So these old heads that are on the media, they like to talk trash. You know, they got beat by the 49ers in the 90s for the years during Harbaugh. And now these last couple of years, like the Niners are the media punching that. They I don't know. You're absolutely right, though, because when the Niners go down, everybody talks trash about it. When the Niners win, oh, yeah, Niners, oh, yeah, they're doing great. Oh, okay. But they're waiting. They're waiting. They're waiting. They're praying for the downfall, my man. Absolutely. It's an annual thing, says Ethan. I agree. Ignist says Brock Purdy may have had a bad game, but he played better than most of the elite quarterbacks this week. Yeah, we talked about it. There's a lot of quarterbacks that played really bad. A lot of quarterbacks, but they want to single out the 49ers. That's how they do it. That's what the media does because the 49ers generate a lot of traction. They generate a lot of, clicks and views and all that stuff. You talk about the Niners. There's a lot of Niner content creators. You guys know that. There's tons of, more than any other team. There's more content creators for the 49ers. So it funnels their shows and their channels, their podcasts. So you talk more about a team that has a big audience, you're going to get more, more views, basically. More views means more money. More money is what they all want. Alexander says, our Niners will use the last game as fuel. I think so, too. I think that's what Fred Warner was saying is team's going to be, using this as a learning experience, as a game they needed. If they want to be where they want to be, they got to win games like these, and they can't make the mistakes they did. So, absolutely right. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, just to recap, the 49ers injuries from today. Christian McCaffrey, he's getting an MRI done. Oblique rib injury. Hopefully it's not too serious. Kyle Shanahan says he doesn't think it is, but we'll really see. It's going to be a pain tolerance thing, according to Rappaport. Deebo Samuel avoided a major injury. It's a shoulder injury, and it's only considered to be day-to-day. Trent Williams also avoided a huge injury. It's not a high ankle sprain. He's considered day-to-day with a low ankle sprain. And Dre Greenlaw, ladies and gentlemen, will be back to practice. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury. Huge news. All good news so far. As soon as we get any update on Christian McCaffrey, we'll let you guys know. And hopefully we get the update soon. As soon as those MRI results drop, we'll post ASAP. I'll see you guys a little later. Talk to y'all on Instagram later tonight. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit that like button. I love y'all. I wish we were talking about Victory Monday, but it is what it is. You can't win them all. I'm glad that the Niners got this loss out of their system now, because now they're ready to go back on another run, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good rest of your day.